last time, I am going to trace just my sunflower itself. I'm not going to trace the love part. I'm going to trace just the sunflower, and then we're going to do that background very similar to the background we did last week with the white and the turquoise blue, okay? Thank you, Jane and Sandra, for the stars. So I'm going to tape down here at the bottom, kind of where I want it to be. And then we will get to trace in so we can get our background on. And I'm going to have to go in search of my heat gun again because Carla stole it today.
Is it right here?
Is it little bitty? Yes, that's it. Yay! No searching needed. Thank you,
have an assistant today.
Yeah, I do have an assistant. I'll get, it's right there, the white cord. I have to just drag it all over the town. I have assistants today. Thank you, darling. So we'll be able to dry stuff as we go and not have to wait forever. Everybody's saying, hey, Sherry. Y'all are awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to grab my graphite paper and our, thank you, Pat, and our stylist. And I'm just going to transfer just my sunflower. So I'm just going to leave it kind of up top. So that also eliminates me pressing too hard and transferring that black. So let's get it right under the sunflower and we'll get this done in short order. Let me move it over a little. Bald is beautiful, that's right. Thank you, Teresa, I appreciate that. Oh my goodness, Gina says they have a drought. I forget where you are, Gina, but I know it is up north because it's always cold where you are. So after you share, Sharon, you come back here and let me know you did. And then all those people's name goes into a hat, so to speak. And we draw a name from those people to possibly win the art piece. So I'm just going to go around and trace on. We'll get the little bottom part. And then we'll start with our petals. So basically this is the same exact sunflower as the other. I just flipped it. So it's leaning the other direction. So the other one was kind of facing right. This one's facing left. And next week's sunflower will face straight up or forward front. So they're all a little bit different colorway, but all kind of the same. All right, so I think, did I get that leaf? I don't know, it won't hurt to go over it again though. I'm gonna kind of make my center. Let's take a peek. You always want to take a peek. Thank you for the sprinkles. Always take a peek before you remove your tape to make sure you have everything. And I don't know if you can tell, but I missed a whole entire petal right here in this. And so I can put that back down and lay it out. If you got the free Faith sunflower and then took advantage, thank you, Christine, took advantage of the 10 templates for $10. They are in black and white. The Faith one is not, because I don't always color them in. Sometimes I just trace them out. I just really color them in when I want to, when they're fun. They're more fun to color in and don't take 2 hours to do that. So they're all going to be in black and white except for the Faith sunflower. All right. So.
And the only other one that's colored is the textured flowers.
Oh yeah, there is one that is colored, but for the most part, they're all gonna be black and white. The flowers I tend, for some reason, to color in. That's just how I am. So I am going to now, we're gonna start on the background, okay? So for the background, let me get my color on my plate. And this is an 8x10, guys. I didn't write it down. And I know it's just a matter of time. So let's write that down on our card. 8 by 10. So we'll just put that right here, and I'll try to keep that where you can see it. All right, so we're gonna put white on our plates. I'm trying to keep with the comments, but they keep disappearing. I don't know why it does that. So we'll put white out, and then we're gonna put a little bit of blue. We're gonna start with our white, just like always, then blend in some blue over the top. So I'm gonna use a larger brush. I'm gonna use this 3/4 inch, just little, looky, Anita's white. I know you're shocked. I know you're shocked. Okay, hey Lele, how are you? So I'm just gonna start down here at the bottom where I can just go crazy. So I'm just gonna fill in the whole bottom left half. And look at there, there's garbage in the paint. I know you're shocked. We call this COVID paint now because ever since COVID, all paint seems to be full of trash. So let's get a big portion of that done with white. Then I'm gonna tip into my blue just a teeny bit on my brush and just blend that. Oops, look at there. You're not supposed to do that. We're just gonna blend that in that big wide open space. All right, so we'll go back to white, and for some reason, there we go. Now we're talking. Now we have whites. Hey, Sandy. I will post a link if you're interested in the 10 for 10. I posted a link earlier, but I will also post a link when we're done. But there is a link already on my page on Art Shattered. I posted a couple hours ago. So if you want to pop off and go check that out.
Is that for the Faith?
For the Faith Sunflower?
Yep, I can drop it.
Okay, so Sherry's going to drop it in the group. So I am going to just keep on what I'm doing. Put the white on, and then dip into your blue a little and just make X's. Just crisscross, get a little bit of color on. You want to have some highs and lows, some light spots, some dark spots, just so it's kind of textury and not all one color. Now we're going to go a little slower so that we can go around our sunflower. Hey, Susie. The blue color is called Desert Turquoise. So I'm going to squish in. I'm looking at my little thing. I'm going to squish in with the white in between my petals. And I still have some blue on this brush, but that's okay too. We don't care, we don't mind. So I'm going to do a small section because we do want to work wet on wet with this. So we'll do a little section of white, then we'll add a little bit of our blue right in around the edges. A little bit more. I tend to like it to be a little darker around the sunflower, but we're going to let it be what it is. Let me squish a little up in there. All right, now I'm going to just turn this so I can do the other side without getting my hand. This is a 3/4 inch flat brush. So really just use whatever size you're comfortable with. I like this size when I'm working with a lot of blank space because it works fast, but you can also get in your little tiny crevices as needed. So we'll do another section of white. Get in between our little cute little petals. Then I'll get a dab of blue and just do that same thing. Just move that blue around. We'll get some right on the edge of our petals. Like I said, I like it to be a little bit darker there. That's just a personal preference. You do you. You do you, boo. Then we'll do this section, just filling it in. This is just a quick and easy, no worries background. You could totally do your background first and then trace on, but this is just the way I like to do it sometimes. There's no reason why, honestly. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I could lie and say, oh, it's because of this, because of that, but yeah, no. Just how I like to do it. All right, so last little section, we're just gonna squeeze in between the petals and the leaves with our white, all the way up to our little stem, back down. Now we're gonna go into that blue. Bless you, Miss Sneezy. Go in with our blue and just kind of fill in. I like to go right in there. And I think we're gonna be done. I can't tell if I'm missing, I feel like I'm missing some little something. No, that's right. That's right there. That's right there. Okay. Felt like I was painting over something, but apparently I'm not. It looks good. So voila, that's how we're gonna start. We're gonna blow dry this first though. I'm afraid to cut the glass that I won't cut it right. Sherry, what glass are you trying to cut? What projects? There ain't no wrong way. And you know what's funny is if it's just scrap glass and if you do it wrong, just save it for another project and try it again. Ain't nothing but a thing. All right, so I'm gonna use my heat gun, my little cheapy Amazon heat gun, and we're gonna get this dried. Oh, Wendy, that is so sweet. And if it makes you feel any better, I didn't like my art teacher either. Oops. So we're just gonna get this dry so we can move on faster. And we don't have to wait forever. Are you talking about for these flowers, Sherry? That's right, you do just need to do it. I think once you do it and get past that fear, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be like, what was I afraid of? That was so easy. It's kind of thick and around the petals, so I need to focus on those a little. Hey y'all, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing. Oh, I said the bad word, didn't I? I'll be in Facebook jail for you now. All right. So our background looks really nice. I really should have done my edges. I'm actually gonna real quick do those because we're gonna give this piece away and I don't want it to be icky. So I'm real quick just gonna hit my edges. I'm gonna do what I did on the top. I'm just gonna start with white. I don't want anybody to get an ugly piece. So we'll start with that white and then I'll just get a tiny bit of that blue and just add some of that blue to the edge. No wrong way to do it. All right, so you see how that looks? Splotchy is best. To read and me, well, I'll tell you this. During COVID, I was very sick during COVID and I had a huge amount of hair loss at that time. And just when my hair was finally starting to grow back, my hairdresser over-processed my hair and I lost a huge amount of hair at that time. So I was pretty sad. Still pretty sad. Don't get me being emotional about it. I was pretty sad, but you know how us girls are about our hair. You mess with our hair, we'll key you. Not really Facebook. It was a joke. Lord, I'm really in jail now. What was I thinking?
Never mind you.
Lord have mercy. So anyway, that was a joke. I just got it whacked off. I just said, you know what? I'm just going to cut it off, give it some time to regrow, and see what happens. Hello, Florida. Sherry's over there like, girl, you haven't been said stuff. You're going to get in so much trouble.
I can only save you from so much.
I know, right? So let's get this last little bit, and you can see it's just like the front. It's kind of blotchy. It has highs and lows, dark spots, light spots, and very similar to the front. So I'm just gonna let that be for a few minutes. And I think while we're waiting on that to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and put my tracer back on, and we'll trace out the word love. So let's stick that right back where it belongs. And I'm going to try to be super careful. Tuck under our graphite. Hang on, I moved it. And I'm going to use my stylus. You can use an ink pen if you don't have one of these. And I'm going to trace out my word. So our word for this week is love. L. O. Whoops. Pressing too hard. I tore through my paper a little. V. Do what? I did. What the heck? You're going to have to go put it on 78 or something. We came into the studio today. It looks really good. It was freezing in here. So I think I put it on 74 or 75, and it just came on again. It's not hot in here. I don't know what the air conditioner is thinking. Okay. Thank you, Sandy. It is going to be easier to care for, easier to deal with, and hopefully it'll give it a little time to feel good about itself. Amy says, how can we make our own little glass to fit on a project like this? Just take a wine bottle, or I'm actually using seed beads on this project for the center of our sunflower. So these you can buy at Hobby Lobby, but if you want to add the glass to the very bottom like we did on the Faith, you can just take a wine bottle that's clear, wrap it up in like a canvas cloth or denim and break it. Just mash it with a hammer and break it really small. Make sure you're wearing gloves to protect your hands and goggles to protect your eyes, but whack it down and make sure, whew, thank you, and get it small enough that you can use it in this project. So you should be able to do that with any clear bottle. All right, so now that we have the love traced on, I'm going to start with my sunflower, and we're going to do this one a little bit of a different color. I am going to start, though, with my leaves because those will be quick and easy. So we're going to use our darkest color first, which we're using Thicket, which is a different color than what we used on the Faith, mostly because I only had that one bottle of Plantation Pine, and it was a goner. It was a dead soldier. Why do I keep saying words that are bad? It was rotten and dried up, and so I had to come up with a similar color, and this is called Thicket. We're also going to use a little bit of Hauser Green, and put a little bit of that on our plate, and let's get these little stems done so that I don't worry about whether I painted them right or wrong. So I am going to use a round brush. This is a number 6 round, really great for leaves and flowers. All right, so I'm going to start with my lighter color. I'm just going to roll my brush. I don't know if you can see my plate. You can. You can just roll your brush into the green. And I gotta look at my cheat sheets. Here it is, and I'm gonna just paint that out, the entire thing with this lighter green because we're gonna hit this twice. So just paint that a lighter color and move on to the next one, which is this one here. When it's like this, sometimes it's hard to tell what is a petal and what is a leaf. So I'm having to use my template as a little bit of a cheat sheet. All right, so now this, wait a minute, yeah, wait a minute, that, and that is more green stuff. I'm getting a little crazy. All right, so let's just fill those in with our Hauser green. Then we're gonna come back. We're gonna do the same thing to our sunflower. We're just gonna do one color on the entire sunflower. Then we'll come back and add more details and give it some 3-dimension. Make it look better. Okay, so I have one more leaf, and that is right here. So we'll get that painted in, and then we'll move to our sunflower. Okay, so I'm going to rinse that because I'm going to use the same brush for my petals. Deborah, I sign my work on the side. Like, for example, if I'm doing a piece like this, I sign it on the side. Some people sign it in the bottom right, but I use a metallic pen and I sign mine on the bottom right side of my art pieces. Okay, so for this particular one, we're gonna use a little bit more fun colors. We are gonna use this marigold again, which we used in the other. We're gonna use this spiced pumpkin, which is a really nice orange. And then we're gonna use this scarlet, which is a reddy orange, okay? But we are totally gonna start with the marigold. So we're gonna base coat the entire petal with the marigold. If I have any in here, it wants to be in the trash can as well. You add a little bit of water to that because it's kind of old and wanting to be thick. So we'll loosen that up with a little bit of water. Just kind of spread it around. All right, that should work. So I'm just gonna go in and paint in all of my petals. I'm not gonna paint in the center of the sunflower yet, just our petals. Just hit them with this one color of paint. And because the paint, we have our tracer on here, and this is that first thin coat, you can still see your lines that you traced. So it'll make it easier to do your second coat and follow your petals. You'll still be able to see them through this paint. So let me get all these cuties done. Trying to avoid the center. And then we'll get this dry so we can just keep on painting. Oh, look at that. That's terrible. Ugh. Yucky. That was not appropriate. All right. Sherry and I have been having so much fun, and I'm trying to get her to stay, and she just won't do it. For some reason, she wants to go home to her man. Don't understand it. So we're going to get these last couple petals done.
but when I can come back.
That is true. We're already kind of planning the next trip because it was so much fun and so productive that we are trying to think about doing this a couple times a year. Right, there's some more gunk. Almost there. And we're just going to use a little bit of traditional burnt umber, which is just brown. It's just a nice chocolatey brown to kind of base in the center of our sunflower. Flip this a little. All right, so that is our sunflower, that just that first coat. We are definitely gonna come in and jazz it up a little, but I'm gonna go in with the burnt umber, which is the brown. You're welcome, Anne. I can't wait to do the trees too. That's my favorite project of all times. We're doing that in October. So I'm going to just come in and add a little bit of this brown to, and I'm not trying to be perfect. You don't want a perfect little oval or a perfect little round. You want it to be organic. Just fill it in so it's not a white blob in the middle for our seed beads when we're done. Then we're going to do our words. Oh, poo. I think I did that last time. Did I do that last time? I had some paint on my hand and got it on the canvas. Feels like I did. So we're erasing. Erase, erase. Voila. Thank you. All right, we're going to use black to do our lettering, and we'll blend in a little bit of green, the darker green, into that when it's time. So we're going to use a little bit of a smaller brush so I can do detail work. And this is, doesn't say, but I'm thinking it's like a 1. I did, didn't I? I thought I did. Okay, so I'm going to use this to do my lettering because I need it to, it's more detailed and I need to have a little more control. Thank you, Kimberly, for the stars. So I'm just using black and I'm going to come in and just, it's almost like coloring in a coloring book. Once you've traced on your image onto your canvas, I got to stop talking. It was black paint. Yes, I remember now. Once you've traced your image, it's more or less just color it in a coloring book. So I got to hold my mouth right and be quiet while I do this, or I will mess it up. And again, this will be gifted to someone. So I don't want it to be icky. I want them to be happy when they get it, not like, ugh. So there's our L. And we got O. Ooh. My hands are a little shaky today, but not too much. I haven't really done a lot. Used my brain more than usual today.
I made you tired.
Yes. Using your brain is way more exhausting than using your muscles, I think. Okay, so V. We'll fatten up that V at the bottom. We'll We'll bring it around and go into our E. Ooh, I have a breath. And let's do our skinny part. Then we'll fill in the little fat part. The downstroke is always the fat part. And then we'll make our little tail and be done. So I'm just going to bring it out and follow down to the bottom of our canvas. So there we have a lobe. Isn't that cute? Not bad. Hey Shirley, I'm glad you made it. That's right, you can't hold your tongue right if you're talking. Need to be more quiet. I'm gonna hit this real quick with my heat gun again so that I don't do what I did last time and get black everywhere. So I want to get this black paint dry. No, you do not pay for the templates. If you are a member of the Shattered Circle, you already have them. Phyllis, you already have them in the guides. Do not pay for them. Huh?
Do I need to?
Maybe. Okay, so our love is dry. So now what we're going to do, thank you for the star, Sandy. You can totally use a paint pen for the words, Amy. I would do a paint pen for the words if I could, but my handwriting is atrocious. And it's easier for me. I learned 30 years ago how to script with a paintbrush and how to do lettering with a paintbrush, so it's just easier for me. The paintbrush, the liner that I used, I think is a 1, okay? It's just a tiny little script brush. Can you see that? It's tiny. Pretty sure it's a 1. All right, so we are gonna go in and I'm gonna just take my brush again and I'm gonna add a little bit of brown again, just to spice up the center and make sure it looks decent. Just a second coat. We are gonna add some seed beads over the top of this. So most of this won't even show, but if there's a little peek of it, we do want it to look decent. Thank you, Carol, that's very sweet. Then we're gonna start on our sunflower petals. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to get a little more of this marigold out because we're gonna use it again. Heavens to Betsy. I really need to go paint shopping. Okay. Then we're also going to use Spiced Pumpkin as our mid-tone color. Thank you, Carol, for the sprinkles. We add a little bit of Spiced Pumpkin, and then we're gonna add a little bit of the Scarlet as well. And we're going to spice up our sunflower petals. So I'm gonna take that brush again, the bigger one. Where'd it go? The number 6 round. So here's what the number 6 looks like. Okay, it's a little bit fatter brush. And I'm gonna start with my original color, and I'm only gonna do a few petals at a time, and the reason I do that is because I like to work wet on wet because it does help the colors blend easier so you're not fighting the fight of your colors being too harsh. So we're gonna go in with the original marigold color, and I'm gonna just do, I got so much on my brush, I'm trying to mix that paint. I'm just gonna completely cover like 2 petals maybe. We'll do this one here. And then I'll pop a little second coat of paint on the second one here. It comes all the way kind of around. I can still see my lines from my tracer, so I know where to go. Now that I have those 2 petals on, I'm just gonna, I haven't cleaned my brush. I'm just gonna go into the pumpkin color. And I'm going to hit kind of in the middle and blend into that marigold. And then I'm going to grab up a teeny bit of that scarlet, and I'm going to hit the right outside edge, blending that in as well. And then I'm going to just get the tiniest, see how tiny that is? The tiniest dot of white. And I'm going to come on the other side of that and blend in. So there is what each petal's going to look like, okay? So we'll futz with them as we go. That one still has the marigold wet, so I'm going to kind of hit the middle with the pumpkin. Then I'll hit the outside edge with the scarlet. I'm also going to make it a little darker where it touches with the scarlet, where it touches the sunflower center. And then we'll get that teeny tiny bit and hit, let me get a little bit more, hit the left side of that petal like that. Can you see what I'm doing there? And we're literally going to repeat that. Hey, Connie, that's okay. We're going to repeat that on every petal, and we're only going to do a few petals at a time so that we are continuously working wet on wet. You guys following me here? Give me some hearts or some thumbs up if you are following me, and we're doing a good job of explaining. All right, so we're going to go back into our marigold, and we're going to base coat in that same yellowy color. Yay, we're doing good then. We'll hit these two outside petals. And while those are wet, I'm going to go into that pumpkin. Kind of smush it into your paintbrush. Hey, Peggy. Just kind of hit the middle of each of the two petals. Blend it in a little. Grab up a little bit of that scarlet. Hit that right side. What you don't want is a hard line. So if you're seeing that hard line, you want to just smush it in a little. That's a technical term if you didn't know, smush it in. And then do that white right on the outside edge, just the tiniest bit, right on the outside edge on the left side. All right, so there's two more petals. We're just gonna keep going. I can give you some of my talents. I sure can. So we're gonna do this next petal here. And let's see, this one comes, I'm losing my petals. This one comes all the way into here. Oops, I got a little bit of a mess there. So that was my marigold again. I'm gonna go into my spiced pumpkin. We'll darken that center. And then we'll get a little bit of the scarlet just on the edge. We'll hit that underside. This is gonna be so pretty. Teeny bit of white, blend it in, and hit that opposite edge. Petals. Okay, I'm gonna go back this way and we're gonna work this way. I'm actually gonna do 3 petals because that one in the center is teeny tiny. So we'll start with this one. We'll just fill it in again. It's the same color we painted it with originally. And then this little piece is just one of those little background petals that's peeking out behind. And then we have this one. Comes all the way to the head of the sunflower. So we're going to get that spiced pumpkin again, blend it into your yellow, hit the center portion. And we're going to put a teeny bit in the center of this little Heidi one. And here as well. Now we're going to go into that scarlet, the darker of the 3. Blend it into your brush a bit. And this one touches the head of the sunflower, so I want to make sure I go all the way down with that scarlet color, all the way down to that sunflower head, because I really kind of want it to be a little darker where it touches that the sunflower head. I don't know why I'm having trouble talking today. So we're going to grab a little bit of white. We're going to hit that opposite side, and just a little bit there. I got a little gapper here, so I'm just going to go in and touch it up. So there is that, and we're going to keep trying. Okay, so we're going to do the next ones. We're going to start with our original color again, which is the marigold. We'll do this cutie. I'm just going to do one. I'll float a little. I'm going to grab up a little bit of the spiced pumpkin, come into the middle, grab a little bit of that scarlet. And you see, when I say a little, I really do mean it. It's just a smidge. We're going to make sure it's darker with that scarlet where it hits that sunflower head. Then I'm going to get a tiny bit of that white and hit the opposite side. So it's always going to be lighter on one side consistently and darker on the other. And you want it to be blended. You don't want it to be stripes. Stripes of white, stripes of orange, stripes of red. You want it to kind of blend. That's why we use wet paints. So let's do this little petal. That's almost a little peaky one as well. We'll get some of the pumpkin. Hit that center. Get a little bit of scarlet. Hit that outside edge. That was excessive, so I'm just going to kind of pounce it a little and blend it back into that spiced pumpkin so it's not so harsh, because I picked up a lot of color that time. Grab a little white and boom. Next, we're just going to continue the same process. What is wrong with me? I'm getting paint on the side of my hand, and then I'm just transferring it everywhere. We'll fix it though, no worries. Running out of battery?
Yeah, and then I can't figure out how come it's not working. It's because it's not plugged in.
Oh, that would do it.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll pick up a little bit of pumpkin. We're gonna hit that middle, blend it in real nice. A little bit of that red, and this one again is touching that sunflower head, so we'll make sure it's darker right there at the base. We'll grab a little bit of the white and just hit that side to highlight that edge. Look at there. There's what we have so far, and we are almost done. Love it. So we're going to go and just repeat again. Just a few more petals. Pick up the orange. This one is touching the tip again, so we're going to start at that bottom so we can make sure it's dark. And again, I did a little bit too much, so I'm just going to poke at it, blend it out a little. We'll pick up a little bit of white, hit the opposite side. A little bit more than that, girl. All right, this is our biggest little petal. Biggest little petal. So let's base coat that in with the same color that we started with. There's also some garbage in here. Let me get that out. Go with a little bit of orange in the middle. We'll grab some of that scarlet red. And we'll just pull it up to that side. Make sure it's blended nice. Grab a little white. I need to rinse. I've got way too much mixture of colors on my brush. All right, we're gonna do this next petal, same way. It's just repeat and repeat over and over and over. All right. Put that original color. Grab up a little orange. Grab up a little red. Grab up a little white. All right, now these two petals are kind of folded towards, thank you, Wendy. These two are kind of folded towards the head of the sunflower. They're kind of leaning this way where the others are leaning out. So we're gonna do those last. I'm gonna come in with my original color again and base coat that with the marigold. We're gonna do the same thing. They're just kind of pointing in a different direction. We'll use our orange, our red, and our white. Again, last one. We'll use the marigold, the original. And I'm glad this is the last one because I'm about out of that paint right here. Base coat that in. Grab a little bit of the orange. A little bit of the scarlets. And lastly, a little bit of that white. Just like that. That is just lovely. I love these colors. It almost looks like fire. Thank you guys. You were so, so, so sweet. So the next thing we're going to do is jazz up our leaves. And we're going to do kind of the same process. We're going to use the light green to base coat out the same little leaf. And we'll use our dark green and our white as our two other colors. So we're going to start here. We're just going to fill in that same color that we started with. I need a little bit of water on my brush. And while it's still wet, I'm going to grab up a little bit of that dark green that is called Thicket. And I'm going to hit the top side with that dark green, maybe a little more. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of white on my brush and I'll hit the bottom. And here's what you end up with. See how much better this leaf looks, more realistic than this one because it's just plain. More. So we're going to do it again with this one. So we'll base coat it out with that original color. Bring in a little bit of that darker green, and it doesn't have to be this exact color. If you have 2 shades of green, use those 2 shades. Just needs to be the color that you would expect a leaf to be. There's our whites. Now we have 4 little, it's like, what do you call it? It's like the little part that the bulb bust out of. It's the bottom of that flower that's that separates as it grows. So we'll do, it's like 1 piece is here. I can still see my lines. So you should still be able to too when you're doing yours. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that dark I'm going to go across the top all the way around. Then I'll grab the white and I'll hit it on the bottom. And then we'll do the next one. I'm going to bring that down a little bit into my love. We'll grab a little bit of that dark color, the thicket, I believe it is. We'll do the same thing. Just add that thicket to one side and the white to the other. We'll just keep on doing that. One more here. I'll do dark on the right side. Yeah, try that again. Dark on the right side, blend it in. And a little bit of white, opposites. Original color. A little bit of the dark on the right side. And just like I've been saying with the petals, the main goal is for it to be blended. You don't want it to look stripy or, you know, see separate colors. You really want it to kind of all blend together. And we'll do a little bit of white on that edge. Then I'm going to take this dark green and kind of load a little bit of this up on my brush. It was trying to dry on me. And I want to pull it down into that portion of my love just a little bit till it kind of blends into the word. So it kind of goes from green to dark, 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 then to the black. So it just kind of blends seamlessly. I think that we may be ready to outline. I'm going to dry this up. I do see where I have more paint that I've transferred using my hand. I'm going to try to erase that. Did a fairly decent job of that. Hang on. That's what happens when you rush. And not let things dry naturally. So I'm going to hit this with my heat gun. Make sure it's nice and dry. Do we have one? Oh, we do have one more leaf. Thank you for noticing, Becky. You are my eyeballs all the time, aren't you, girl? Almost missed it. All right, so let's get this one. That would have been terrible. So I'm going to do this one. A little bit of the dark green on one side. And a tiny bit of white on the opposite. And we're good. Thank you. Everybody was saying, one more leaf, one more leaf, one more leaf. So let's dry this real quick. So we're gonna dry this up because we are gonna outline, we're gonna use our pen, our detail pen, to outline. The seed beads do go on sale often. It seems like at Hobby Lobby, it's like over the course of a month, it's like 1 month, the seed beads are on sale. The next month, canvases are on sale. You pretty much, if you go once a month, you can catch just about anything on sale. So we're going to let this cool off a little bit. Then we're going to use this Master's Touch graphic drawing pen. It's a 0.5 black pen, and I use this to detail because I'm old and I have arthritis and I'm no good at detailing with a paintbrush this way. So we are going to just outline and give a little bit more detail to our flower. And here's what I'm going to do for all you new folks. If you're new here, I want you to post a big old heart right now so I can see who you are. I'm gonna do half my flower with my detail pen, and then I'm gonna show it to you close up so you can see the huge difference that it makes. So I'm gonna use my pen, and I'm just gonna use short, fun, fast strokes. 1 new person, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome, thanks so much for being here. So I'm gonna take my little pen, it's black, and I'm just gonna give short, quick strokes, nothing fancy. You can see it's actually kind of messy what I do. And I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna do this half of the flower, and then I'm gonna show you the difference in how it looks if you don't detail. Okay, so close up, I have detailed this side and I haven't detailed that side. Can you tell the difference in just that little bit of a line and what it does to separate and make your art piece pop? Thank you, Kimberly. So it really gives it that last bit of definition. So we're gonna use this pen, and you can see I'm pretty messy at it. I'm not trying to hard outline anything. I want just a faint, quick stroke of the pen so that it just helps things stand out a little. All right, so we're gonna do this. Quick little lines. Up and back and up and back, around. All right, so we already did, well, let me give it this little flower and this one. All right, so we're gonna come around and we're gonna do the same thing to the word love. It is in black, but we're gonna give it just a little messy outline all the way around and give it a little bit of love of its own. So that is what this pen does. It really is the icing on the cake. Totally the icing on the cake. All right, so here, done it again. What is wrong with me? I've got paint on me somewhere that keeps transferring to the canvas. I'm gonna add a little bit. I'm gonna fix that. That's quite messy. I'm gonna add a little bit of white right down here where I got a ton of yellow from my hand, I guess. I'm gonna grab a tiny bit of that blue and just try to alter that. We'll fix it up. That's why I like these messy backgrounds, because you can always fix it. Let's get it together, Cindy. Keep getting too much blue on my brush. There we go, all fixed. Voila. Just need to wash my hands while I need to. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do, I wanna show you what we're gonna use for the center of the sunflower. And these came from Hobby Lobby as well. Sandy, this video will stay on this page right here for always. So when you're ready to watch it again, just come back to this page and look for this date and you will see this video. You can watch the replay anytime you want. These are Bead Treasure seed beads and they come from Hobby Lobby as well. And this brand, or this actual color, is called Autumn. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's got all your fall colors. It's got the golds and the oranges and the reds and the bronzy brown colors. That is what we're gonna use on the center of our sunflower. And these are actually a little bit bigger than normal. These are a size 6 seed bead, but I love them, so we're gonna use them. Now, because they're bigger and they're gonna go everywhere, I'm gonna use my Aleene's Clear Tacky Glue, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of this glue right to the center of my sunflower. so that we can control where these beads are gonna go, all right? So I'm gonna grab one of my little baby cups and I'm just gonna dump some of these right into it. Thank you, Patricia. So we'll dump some of these beads, and the colors are just delicious. I can't even tell you. Let me see if you can see them. Can you see those? You probably can. It's hard to see, but they're like orange and green and yellow, gold, bronze, a little magenta. They're really quite lovely. So I'm just going to just sprinkle, and I like to mound them up. And we're going to get these seed beads right on top of that glue where it needs to be. You squish them over a little. Oh, I'm going to drop a tiny bit more glue. I'm going to drizzle it right on top of these seed beads. Thank you, Patricia. I'm just going to kind of drizzle it right on top of where I already put these seed beads, because I want to add a few more, and I don't want them to just roll off. I'm being a little whack-doodle now. I really want to pile them up because these are so stinking pretty. All right, let me just grab one and place it where I want it. All right, I'm going to show you this close up so you can see what I'm talking about, because these are fantastic. All right, let me put those over here so you can see. Can you see those? They are so pretty. I love them. Probably be using them a lot. So that's what we're gonna do for that area. I'm gonna go ahead and elevate my canvas because I'm gonna add some glass at the bottom, just like we did for our faith. We're gonna add a little bit of clear classic. Where did I put it? Where are ya? So this is clear classic glass. You can buy this on my website at artshattered.com. Let me move this a little closer. Don't you try to run away. And I'm going to just spread some of that along the bottom. I can't wait to show you these when it's dry so I can show you close up, because these little seed beads are awesome. It's called Autumn, and you've got to go get some. I'm just sprinkling on a little bit, whoops, I'm just spilling it, that's what I'm doing. A little bit of this clear. I'm making a mess. A little bit of this clear. I'll kind of try to control it a little better once I get it on here. And I never want it to be perfect. I never want it to be like a perfect straight line. I always like it to be a little crazy, a little random. Make sure none of them are sticking straight up and pointy. Now, guess what? We are ready to resin. Okay, so we're gonna mix 1 ounce of resin. That is hardly anything for a piece of this size, and I love doing that. Oh, these gloves are tight. Ooh. So what I have are 2 little baby measuring cups. I get these cups from Amazon. They're like 1 ounce measure cups. And I've already marked them at the 1/2 ounce line. They are embossed with the measurements, but I can hardly ever see it. Thank you, Sue. You can't see it really if you're pouring, so I always mark it with a little black line. And we are gonna use art resin, which is what I always use. It is a 2-part resin epoxy, and that's what we're going to use to mix up and pour over our glass. So we're going to pour a 1/2 ounce of hardener in our little cup. And if you've never poured before, you always want to pour in 2 cups. You don't want to pour in 1 because it's super hard to get it just right. So you want to pour your hardener in 1 cup, and then use another cup to pour your resin. Ooh, I poured that quick. You wait for a minute to let it catch up. I might need 1 teeny more drop. Tinsy, wincy, wincy. Right there. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my measuring cup that I mix in, I'm just gonna dump both parts into that cup because there's not enough space in the 1 ounce cup to mix 1 ounce of resin. You really need to have that extra space to mix and stir. So we're gonna dump it in a larger cup. Get all that juice out. Don't leave any of it behind. Pretend it's chocolate chip cookie dough. You want every drop. And then we're gonna mix it up. The art resin is a 2-part epoxy that you mix and measure by volume, not weight. Don't make that mistake. Always follow the directions on whatever resin you're using because all resins are not equal. This one we have to mix for 3 minutes. And Sue, if you're ready, I am. So now's a good time. If you have questions about what we're doing here, you can go ahead and ask me because I got 3 minutes of stirring to do. And thank you for the sprinkles. And so I'm always chatty Cathy now. So let me know when my 3 minutes is up. And I'm just gonna stir and get ourselves ready. I love the seed beads too. I've become a seed bead-aholic. Every time I go to the Hobby Lobby, I'm checking out all their seed beads and all the new colors. They're so pretty, especially for fall. You know, in the summer, I don't really look at those colors. But man, I tell you what, there are some good fall colors. So we're just gonna mix, and you wanna mix slowly. You don't wanna beat it to death. You know, there's no reason to do that. The harder you mix it, the more bubbles you create. So make sure you're just stirring it and mixing slowly. Scrape the sides and the bottom of your cup as you go. And just keep mixing and don't cheat yourself. Always do it for the 3 minutes, okay? So stir, stir, stir.
How many Canadians are online today?
Yeah, let's ask that question since Sherry's here visiting me from Canada. If you are from Canada, give us a shout out. I want to see who's here. Do what?
Drop me a little flag.
Yes, yes. Post a little flag, a Canadian flag if you're from Canada, so we can see how many Canadians are on the line. Can you pour resin over paper with a print on it? You can, but you need to Mod Podge it first, Kelly. You want to glue it down with Mod Podge, let it dry, put a layer of Mod Podge over it, and then resin, okay? Thank you, Carrie. Surely we have some Canadians watching. Are you the only one here, Sherry? Oh no, Kathy Buckman. Hey, Kathy. Stephanie is from London, Ontario. Shout out to you, Stephanie.
Okay, 2.
We have two Canadians, eh? I was laughing and telling Sherry, I haven't heard her say the whole week, and then today she said it. I did not find out who sent the ketchup chips. If you know, I would love to know. Somebody sent us 3 bags of Canadian ketchup flavored potato chips, which I was shocked at. I've never seen that. And we have no idea who sent them. Tarita's from Oregon. Kathy is from Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Right. All East Coasters.
Yep.
Well, they wouldn't consider themselves East Coasters, but they're east of me.
Oh, they're east of you. Hey, Pamela. So I'm stirring. Time's up, Sue says. Okay, so I'm going to give it one more quick stir. Scrape that bottom really well. Make sure we're all mixed up well. And the first thing I'm going to start with is my little seed beads because I want them to settle in and I don't want them to move around. So we're going to hit those first with our resin. And I'm just going to drizzle right over the top. Make sure they're all covered really nicely. And shazam. None of them moved. Yes. I didn't. Oh, Kim's from Manitoba. Amy, I haven't tried the chips because I'm not a big ketchup person anyway. And so I haven't opened them. Have you tried them, Sherry?
I know what ketchup chips taste like, so I don't
We have not opened those ketchup chips. We've been eating like last night. We had steak and pizza and salad. We had a little bit of everything that we had been eating all week, leftovers, and so ketchup chips were not on the agenda. And I'm just not sure about the ketchup chip scenario, so I'm not sure if that's ever going to happen for me. So if you sent them, I apologize in advance for not eating your chips.
You can give them to your son.
That's right. My son actually went to Europe last month, or in May. And when I posted them, he sent me a text and said, "Yum, ketchup chips are beautiful." So I was like, well, come get them, boy. Because I can't even think about ketchup potato chips. That does not sound appealing to me. Apparently that's a Europe or Canadian thing, because I don't know. I barely even eat ketchup on French fries. I eat ranch dressing on my French fries. All right, so I'm going to grab up my silicone stick because it's just going to be easier to get the rest of this out of my cup. This is a silicone makeup applicator that we use in our resin to get all that stuff out. Okay, somebody says they don't really taste like ketchup. All right,
like a sweet flavor.
Just a sweet flavor, Sherry says. I might have one then. Well, let's see. I'm going to get all this goodness out of my cup, and then we'll spread it around with this stick as well. Thank you, Holly. So I'm just going to use this silicone applicator. I'm going to hold on to this a little, and I'm going to spread that resin all the way to the edges of our canvas and make sure it's all covered really nicely. Now, I'm just going to tell you this right now because I know some of you are new and some of you are just like starting to play around with resin, and you are never going to have a perfectly slick, smooth, absolutely bubble-free, lint-free art piece. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself. It never happens. So unless you're a machine, don't even put that pressure on yourself. You're always going to have some little skippies here and there. You're going to have some air bubbles. I don't know what that is, but that is gunk.
Kitty hairs.
Yeah, you might have cat hairs if you're like me and have a house full of kitties. Your resin is never going to be perfect, so stop putting that pressure on yourself. And realize that this is a man or woman made project, and no, there's nothing perfect in the universe. All right, so I'm going to take my finger now that everything is covered, and I'm just going to run it along the edges. I like to do that to make sure it's nice and clean on the edge and that we're not having a bunch of resin dripping over the side. So we'll just do that, and then I can take my gloves off. I'll be able to reuse these. I didn't get hardly any resin on them. Good for you, Elaine. I know you're not. And I'm going to use my heat gun because anytime you mix two liquid type products together, you're going to get air bubbles. As you stir, you're incorporating air bubbles into that mixture. So I'm going to use my heat gun to run over the top and pop any bubbles that I may have created mixing my resin. So I'm just going to run my heat gun right over the top. Voila. If you see your resin wiggling and moving under the heat gun, you're probably too close. Back up a little. You don't want to burn it. And voila, we are done. I want to just peruse it just a little bit, take a peek. I see a little bit of debris already right here. So I'm just going to use, I normally use the toothpick, but this is in my hand, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to pop that right up out of there. a little piece of just debris or lint of some sort. And come on, I see you. We're not leaving you. And now I'm just kind of looking at it. I don't see any more stuff. Everything looks good. So we are done. Check this out. I'm going to give you a close-up look. There's our flower. Look at those seed beads. They are delicious, aren't they? So there's our flower. There's our love. There's the bottom where we put that clear glass. Is that not super fun? So let me put this back.